In this video, we're going to go through the retracted exercise that's a part of the endpoint security monitoring module in the SOC level 1 pathway of TryHackMe, and this is one of the added rooms that they had, and then there's a few other ones, and then once we're done with that, we're going to wrap up the SOC level 1 pathway again, and then after that we're going to continue where we left off with SOC level 2. So here we go. The intro to this is pretty straightforward. So, it's a mother's plea is the story that we got. Thanks for coming. I know you're busy with your new job, but I didn't know what else to do. So I downloaded and ran an installer for an antivirus program I needed. After a while, I noticed I could no longer open any of my files. And then I saw that my wallpaper was different and contained terrifying message telling me to pay if I wanted to get my files back. Ransomware, definitely. I panicked and got out of the room to call you, but when I came back, everything was back to normal, except for one message telling me to check my Bitcoin wallet, but I don't even know what Bitcoin is. Can you help check if my computer is now fine? So that is basically the situation as we see, and it seems like obviously she did something that she shouldn't have done, like installing an antivirus program, and then she was caught in a ransomware, which the guy probably is now just watching the computer and logged in. And the Bitcoin portion of it is very interesting, especially if she doesn't know what Bitcoin is, and she obviously doesn't have a Bitcoin wallet. So we're trying to see what else is going on with that. So there's probably definitely a command and control that we got to catch, and we got to see how we can get rid of this person so it's no longer on their computer. There are two virtual machines that are attached to this exercise, and these are the two logins for those virtual machines. As we see, oh wait, no, it says the password doesn't work. Wait, I have written it somewhere. Try this. Okay. All right. So I guess that's funny. It's very similar to like what my mom would do. She'd be like, yeah, this is the login. No, actually, wait, oop, that's not it. So this is the one. So we'll see what actually works in this particular case. So I'm gonna log in, I'm gonna start the machine, and we're gonna see what we got. Okay, so here is the loaded machine. This is obviously a Windows machine, and just based on the giant icons, you can kind of tell that this belongs to a parental unit that has bad eyesight. It just reminds me of those old Windows computers. Okay, so you can't really tell because of the way that the background is, but there's some files here. There's obviously a file addressed to Sophie, which is mom right here. And yeah, these various other items here as well. So what we need to do is we need to find the path of this specific file. And there are a couple of easy ways to do it. So first I'm going to open up PowerShell in our environment. And here's PowerShell. So let's zoom in a little bit just so you can see what's going on, and I'll drag this so that you can literally see what's happening. So there's a few things that you can do, right? Like there's a very, very easy way to do it. And the easiest way would be first to just go to the desktop. So there's a command called current working directory in Windows, and you type that and it should show you where you currently are in the computer in the current working directory. So maybe it's PWD. There you go. Okay, so PWD instead of CWD. And PWD, very similar to what goes on inside of Linux. It just shows you where you are in the system, okay? What we can do is we can also see what is inside of our current working directory, which is in this case, all of the stuff that is assigned to a user when you create something, when you create a user. And we want to go into the desktop. So CD desktop, and you're now inside of the desktop. And now you can do dir again to see what's inside of the desktop. And so you can see that the sophie.txt file is literally on the desktop as we previously imagined. So what I can do is this, right? Let me actually zoom in a little bit more. I feel like it's not very visible what we're doing here. Let me actually double check also with, yeah, so in OBS, it kind of does show better, I feel like, when I'm zoomed in a little bit. So what I can do here, since I know that I'm already in this path, right? So C user Sophie desktop, and then if you know what the name of the file is, you just add it to the end of this, and that'll end up being the full path, right? So this is the path of where the file is sitting, and then from there you just add the file name to the end of this, and that'll be your path where you're at. There's also a fancy way of doing this, which is using a commandlet called resolve path. And so resolve path requires that you do the forward slash, or excuse me, backslash, because we're in a Windows environment. So you do a dot, and the dot represents your current location where you are in the computer. So the dot represents this piece right here. So it just says inside of this specific folder that I'm in, I want you to find the backslash Sophie. So let me spell this right. Sophie.txt file. And I want you to just tell me what that path is. And so it gives me the full path name. And as you can see, again, it's literally the same exact path that we had here, just with this added portion right here where it actually includes the name of the file itself. So I want to know if I can copy this. I can't. So that's the one thing that I really don't like about PowerShell. So I think Control-C would still work in this environment. So let's see if that worked. It did. Okay, great. So there we go. So now we have the full path. And that should be the right answer. Excellent. So the next question is, what program was used to create the file? And this is, again, one of those things that you can kind of guess because it's a .txt file, and you can see just based on the logo of the file, if you look at it on the desktop. So if I drag this out of the way a little bit, if you look at this, this is a notepad file. If I right click on this and go to properties, it'll also show me that this opens with Notepad. So this is probably a Notepad file, or that was the software that was used to create this thing. But what we can do, again, is we can do the fancy version of this. So what's the fancy way of finding what software was used to create that specific file? And in order to find the fancy way, what we need to do is we need to open up a different application, and that is called the Event Viewer application. And the Event Viewer application helps you figure out a bunch of neat things, and one of those things is what software or what program, what service was used to create a specific file. And I really like the way that Mom has her computer set up because it's all black background and it's really, really cool. So in order to find the specific program that created our file, what we're going to do is we're going to go to this piece right here, which is application and service logs. And I'm going to click on that. And then I can also do the drop down. Well, this is a really slow computer, so I got to wait for that to load. And then from application and service logs, the next path that we want to go to is the Microsoft path. So I can just double click that, or when you do the drop down, it'll show you this, and then you click on Microsoft and it shows this thing. So if I actually do the drop down on this side, then the next thing that we want is Windows. We click on that and a new series of items populate, and then we click this one more time. And then what we want is sysmon, the system monitor, because that's where everything is stored, or most things are stored. So we go to sysmon right there. And then inside of sysmon, there's only one log, which is the operational log. Now, what we want is to find the event ID that is associated with process creation. So if I kind of drag this out a little bit, it'll show us what is inside of these things. And process create is the task category that we're looking for, and that's event ID 1. So if we go to the very, very right here, what we can do is we can filter based on those items, based on that specific event ID. So I can do filter current log, and then what I'm going to do is go right here. Instead of saying all event IDs, I'm just going to do 1 as my event ID, and then I'm going to click OK. And so it should only show me the processes that have been created by event ID 1, or not the processes that have been created, the processes that are associated with event ID 1. And as you can see, the timestamp does change, but the event ID itself doesn't change, because these are all of the processes that are associated with event ID number 1. So now what we can do is we can search through all of these things, and what we're looking for is the file name. So I just click on find, and of course you could have done this at the very beginning as well without actually filtering through the event ID, whatever. But I did sophie.txt, and now we're going to let that run real quick, and it'll show us, and there we go, this the event, process create, and then we just open this event. Oh, let me cancel that. And then we just open this event right here, and then we have our item. And so now it says the image that was associated with this. Let's zoom in a little bit more. The image that was associated with the process creation task that we see here is notepad.txt. And let's see if it shows up in any other instance. There we go. The command line itself was also notepad.exe, and any other items associated with it, we don't see it. So that's it. So there we go. This is the long fancy version of finding the item, what was used to create it, so on and so forth. So the image is typically associated with the software that was used to create it, and it's also inside of the command line instance as well. That shows us that it was notepad.exe. Or you can, if you wanted to like save all of this time and energy, you could just assume based on the logo that you see right here, or if you do the right click and you go to the properties, if you go based on that, then you can find the answer that you're looking for a little bit quicker. But it's always good to have multiple answers, because sometimes hackers are really smart and they may make something look like it belongs to Notepad, but in actuality, the image that's associated with it, the software that's running in the background, may not be Notepad, because there's macros and yada, 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 yada. So the answer that we have now is what? Notepad.exe, and that should be it. Excellent. So what is the time of execution of the process that created the file? You want the year, month, day, hours, minutes, and seconds. So we're going to go back to this bad boy right here. And then this is what we got right here. And we also should see it at the bottom. So we have the UTC time 2024, yada, yada, yada. So I'm going to take this whole piece. Actually, I don't think I need those last few items. I just think I need that piece. And then can I copy this? I'll just do Control-C to make it easy. And go here, paste that. And there we go. All right, cool. That's the message. And that's all we got for the message. So let us move on to the next piece, the something is wrong piece. All right, so this is what mom is saying. She says, I swear something went wrong with my computer when I ran the installer. Suddenly, my files could not be opened and the wallpaper changed, telling me that I have to pay. And then we say, wait, are you telling me that the file I downloaded, oh, she says, I'm sorry, wait, are you telling me that the file I downloaded is a virus, but I downloaded it from Google? Ugh. So what is the file name of this installer? I'm like triggered by this event because my mom has done so many things like this. And I'm like, babe, why? Why are you doing this? She's like, yeah, but I got it from, such and such place that's supposed to be good. And I'm like, oh God. Anyways, what is the file name of this installer, including the file extension? So what is the file name of the installer, including the file extension? All right, so there's a couple of ways that we can do this. So if we go to Files, and if we go to Downloads, there might be something here. So there is nothing inside of our Downloads folder. So what we can do is we can actually go to her browser, assuming that she used Internet Explorer. I don't want to update this thing. And so there is a option right here where you can actually check for downloads. I'm actually not a Windows guy. So there we go, View Downloads, there it is. So view downloads, and let's see if we have anything here. All right, there is nothing inside of this downloads piece either. There's something that shows you your download history, and I gotta find that real quick. So let's see. Okay, so there's something, there's a Microsoft Edge browser here as well. So the Internet Explorer browser didn't have anything. The Microsoft Edge browser could potentially have something. Maybe that's what she used. So if we do downloads for Microsoft Edge, yeah, that's what she used. Okay, so there we have it. We have the decryptor.exe and then we have antivirus.exe because she was using Microsoft Edge in this instance. So I'm going to say that the answer to this is antivirus.exe. Very good. So what is the downloaded location of this installer? And that should be also fairly easy to find. So if we actually go back to the list of the downloads, and you just do open, or you click this piece right here, the folder button right here. So it should say show in folder. And it is, where do we have it? We have this PC, local disk, users, Sophie, download. That's where it's sitting. So that would be the full path. If I actually went to PowerShell right here, and if we went back one more and we went into the downloads folder, we should be able to see that we have the antivirus.exe here as well. And then so we got this fancy little path right here. So resolve path dot backslash and then antivirus dot exe, and then it says, hey, there's the full path, and then voila, I'm just going to take that and then copy that and go here and paste that, and there's our path. Wait, why isn't it working? Is it not right? So if we, oh, I see maybe not the full path of the actual file itself. I think it's this thing. There we go, yeah. So they just want the download location, not the full path to the file. Okay. So the installer encrypts files and then adds a file extension to the end of the file name. What is the file extension? So it encrypts files and then it adds a file extension. So let's go see what we got here. So if I just look at all of the files that are on the desktop, for example, it doesn't show me any extra extensions, right? So it says docx or whatever. So all of these things seem to be fine. So let's see if we can do another quick little way before we resort to our event viewer. So if I go and click on, let's say this file right here, and then if we look at the properties, let's see if it shows us anything right here. And it still says PPTX, so if we look at security or the details of it, it still doesn't show us the encryption file extension that's been added to it. So that's probably not going to be our method. So we do have to go to our event viewer. And I gotta clear the filter on the right here, so it shows me all of the events. And what I'm gonna do this time, I'm just gonna do a find. And instead of looking for Sophie TXT, I'm just going to look for the antivirus.exe and see what I can find with that. And there we go. So file created, sysmon event. So we'll just double click this thing right here real quick. It would have also actually probably shown on at the bottom right here. And we do actually have it. So look at this. So file name, Sophie desktop fundraising plan, yada, 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 docx. And then there's a .dmp right here. So .dmp was added to this docx. And so look, fundraising 2024, right? So we saw that. So if we go look at this right here, you'll see this fundraising plan 2024. All of these items, there is no extra extension that's been added to it. So exactly what you see in this is not necessarily what happened behind the scenes, right? That's why the event viewer is so freaking useful. So there we go. So now we have the docx that was turned into the docx.dmp. DMP, dimethyl P. I don't know what P would stand for. DMP, boom, there we go. All right, so the installer reached out to an IP address. So what's the IP address? So see command and control, you see what I'm saying? C2 right here. So it reached out to an IP address. What is the IP address? So we go to our event viewer yet again. So let me just close this thing right here. I'll minimize this. And then, so what I'm looking for is something that has to do with a network. So the task category, well, I think I passed it right there. So the task category, network connection, there we go. Network connection detected. And I think those are all the events. So it is an event ID of 3 is what is connected to our network connections. So we might need to do further filtering. So I'm going to go back into my filter and I'm going to just do 3 for my event ID 3, and it should only show me these handful of items. And from here, now I want to do a search for some kind of, I guess we can do the download or the download folder or something that was associated with something that was downloaded. So we can go to find and then we can search here for, let's see, download. Okay, cool. So if we have this event right here that was associated with the download, let's just open it up and then let's go here and let's see what we can find under this download folder. We have certain items, and I feel like I could probably make this a little bit bigger as well. Oh, okay, so there's a source IP that's associated with it, and then there's a destination IP that's associated with it. So 10.10.8.111 is the destination IP, and that's what they're reached out to. So if it's reached out, that means it's going out, and that's the destination that we're looking for, and that is the destination IP that was associated with that bad boy right there. So all right, so there we go. We got some good details about this thing that's going on here. So what we need to do is now fix mom's computer. So we need to get things back to normal. Mom asks us, so what happened to the virus? It does seem to be gone since all my files are back. And the questions that we got here is that what the threat actor has logged in via remote desktop protocol right after the installer was downloaded. So what's the source IP of them using RDP, which is 3389? Actually, they tell us this. Do they tell us this? No, it just says remote desktop. So your job is to know what port is associated with it and what services and all of those events that are associated with RDP. So that's how you would be able to track that down. So we're going to find that real quick. And then it says the other person downloaded a file and ran it, or this other person downloaded a file and ran it. When was that file run? And then you want the time zone that's associated with that. So there's a few steps that we have to take. So the first thing that we want is to look at the RDP remote desktop or port. I want to say it's 3389. What port is RDP? And we have 3389 is the TCP port that's associated with RDP in this particular case. So 3389 would be our port. We can also just search for RDP individually to see what we get there. So we're just going to keep our network connections because it is a network connection that has happened. And from here now we want to go back to, where's the find button? There we go, there's a find button. And so let me see if I can get anything from 3389. I do. And let's see what is associated with this 3389 item right here. And I am looking for the source IP. It might be a little bit easier to find it in this regard. So I do have a source IP right here, and I also have a destination IP. Both of these are different IP addresses. Maybe it is this one. Let's see it. So we'll do this because it is RDP technically. It may not be the first one. I may need to actually organize it by date and time. That might actually be very important in this case because we do want to see the most recent or the earlier events for RDP, right? For the 3389, we want to see the first thing. So let me run this one more time, or I don't know now what happened. I feel like I moved up the ladder. So let's see. This would be the first one, I think, right? 19, 19, 124, 10, 12, 21, 10, 21. Okay, so this is the earliest one. It's actually this one, 1021, 2024. I'm sorry, that's the latest one. My bad. So 1021, 2024 is the latest one. So what I want to do is I want to find, or let's go back to the top of our list right here, and then from the top of the list we want to do 3389. Find next. So that would be the first one. Is the earliest one is 1/6/2024. So let's see if this is the correct answer right here. So we have RDP, which is the rule that's been associated with it, 10.13.27.93. Let's see if this is the right one. That is incorrect. So it says the threat actor logged in via RDP right after the installer was downloaded. Oh, right after the installer was downloaded. So let's see if we can actually find out exactly what time that was. So that's actually a really good time. So this was the time that the process execution created the file, and we don't have anything about the installer's time and date that was being downloaded. So I would need to find that information, and then from there go and try to find the very next item. So that's probably the best way to pursue this. So what we want to see is we want to see AntiVirus downloaded, and then from there we want to do that date and then that date and time, and then right after that date and time is what we're looking for. So I'm going to go back here again, and I'm going to search for AntiVirus actually. Okay, there we go. And then let's see what date and time was associated with this thing. So this is the AntiVirus right here. Now we have 1/8/2024, 2:15:02 p.m. So 1/8/2024, 2:15:02 p.m. So now what I want to do is I want to find RDP or 3389, whatever, RDP, and then 1/8/24, 2:15:02. So the very next item is this one right here, 1/8/2024, 2:19:02. And so this will probably be the one that we want, is 10/11/27/46. I believe that might be the one. Can I copy this? Why can't I copy this? Okay, let's just do Control C, whatever. And we'll go here and let's try that one. I feel like that's the right one. Yeah, that is the right one. Okay, so that was the detail, right? The detail is they did it right after they downloaded the installer, so we needed to get the time of the installer download, and then we got the RDP session right after that one. So now this other person downloaded a file and ran it. When was that file run? And we want basically the same exact time format. So I do remember looking at this thing right here, we did actually see inside of our downloads that there's another file right here. So decryptor.exe was the thing that busted downloaded and messed with our mom. God. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to clear our filter because we want that process creation filter to come back here. So that was event number 1, was the process creation event. And the process creation event can also be associated with a file that was downloaded, which is going to be our decryptor.exe. And there should be an item that's associated with that. And there is that item. So now let's open this guy right here. And what we want is the time and date associated with that. So that is the time and date. Let me see if I can copy this. Okay, very good. I can copy that. And let's see if that's the correct time and date. I think it is. Oh, it's not. Let me see. Okay, so what am I missing? Downloaded a file. They ran it. When was this file run? Okay, that's what I'm looking for. Not when it was necessarily downloaded. We want to see when the file was ran. Oh, no, you know what? Actually, this is the mistake that I made. This is not UTC time zone format. That's not the format that they're looking for right here. Clearly, very, very wrong format. Okay, so I need the UTC time zone format with the year and whatever front. So that's not UTC. So let's actually go find that UTC time format real quick. Oh, it's literally at the top right here. Okay, cool. There we go. And we need it all the way to the 18-second. I think that should be it. I think that was the issue. Yeah, okay. So the answer was right. It was just the wrong format. So there we go. So now we got the correct format of that download. And let's go try to figure out what happened here. So it doesn't make sense, says mom. So you're telling me that someone accessed my computer and changed my files, but later undid the changes? That doesn't make any sense. Why infect my machine and clean it afterwards? Can you help me make sense of this? So what we got to do now is arrange the following events in sequential order from 1 to 7 based on the timeline in which they occurred. So Sophie ran out and reached out to you for help. Probably not the first one. Sophie downloaded the malware and ran it. That might be the first one. A note was created on the desktop telling Sophie to check her Bitcoin. The intruder downloaded a decryptor and decrypted all the files. The malware encrypted the files on the computer and showed a ransomware note. And someone else logged into Sophie's machine via RDP and started looking around. We arrived to the scene to investigate. So actually, that's probably the last one. So I'm going to say that's number 7. The very first thing would be Sophie downloaded the malware is number 1. And the items, so this would be number 6 probably. Oh, that's not number 6, huh? Okay, fine. That's not number 6. Okay, so first would be she downloaded the malware and ran it. And then this would not be the next one because the person would be inside of the computer by this time kind of looking around. And this would be the encryption malware that was ran, and that was the second piece. So this would be the first, this would be coming before this thing, right? Someone else logged into Sophie's machine via RDP. That's not number 2. So we already got number 1, and then we need number 2. So let's actually, I guess we can kind of just go through the order of these things and let's see what we got. Okay, so the decryptor is the piece that happened after the ransomware, right? Because she downloaded the item, she got a ransomware note, and she couldn't access all of her files, meaning that all of the files were encrypted at that moment. So decryptor would have happened later. So there needs to be something that happened to encrypt all of the files and show a ransomware note after she downloaded that piece. So that would probably be number 2. Okay, great. So now, once everything has been encrypted and there's an issue, she's probably panicked, and so she needs to figure out what to do. So most likely, that's when she came out and reached out for help. There would be the note that's created on the desktop telling her to check her Bitcoin. The intruder downloaded a decryptor and decrypted all the files. And we can also just look at the story right here, right? So I know you're busy, da 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 da. I downloaded ran an installer, so that would be the first thing, right? After a while, I noticed I could no longer open any of my files. That would be the second thing. And then I saw the wallpaper was different and contained a terrifying message telling me to pay if I wanted to get my files back. So that would be the note that probably came up saying that she, oh no, I'm sorry, that's not the note. That's the encryption note about the ransomware. I panicked and got out of the room to call you. So that would be the next item, right? But when I came back, everything was back to normal. So she downloads the file and she sees that she can no longer open them because they're encrypted. And then she sees that there's a note telling her that she needs to pay a ransom. So these two items right here are probably the same exact event. And then she panics and got out of the room to call you. So that's the next piece right there. That would be number 3 probably. But when I came back, everything was back to normal. That's when things got decrypted, except for one message telling me to check my Bitcoin wallet, which is that text note. And then, but I don't even know what Bitcoin is. Okay, so now that we have actually her timeline of stories, we can kind of go out and check this out. So she downloaded it and ran it. The malware encrypted the files and showed her ransomware note. That was the event number 2. And then she ran out immediately and called you. So that would be number 3. And then there was a note that was checking her Bitcoin, and then there was a decryptor. So first it was decrypted, so that would be number 4, right? Or maybe this one right here. This is probably number 4. They logged in. And then they downloaded it, so that would be number 5. And then the note was on the desktop, being number 6. And then we arrive on the scene to investigate. So that's what happened. And I still don't understand what that Bitcoin note had to do with anything. So let's go actually read the Bitcoin note and see what all of that has to do with any of this stuff. Because what is this guy like? Did he just regret what was happening? Check your Bitcoin. And they don't even know what Bitcoin is. So they probably just hacked the wrong person. Some of these hackers are idiots, I swear. It's like, what are you doing, bro? I've gotten such like random, quote unquote attempts at people hacking me. It's like, dude, what? There was literally a guy that, hacked me a couple of days ago and said, hey, is this your email address? And I'm like, yeah, that's my email address. And then they're like, yeah, we're going to stop your email. We're going to block your email. I'm like, why? And he was calling from Google, by the way. So this is so-and-so calling from Google. Is this your email address? We're going to block your email. Why are you going to block my email? Because we noticed some malicious activity. Did you try to change your phone number? I'm like, no, I didn't try to change my phone number. Okay, so you've confirmed that there's this malicious activity, so we're going to block your email. And I was like, okay. I don't want you to. They're like, yeah, it's too late because you already confirmed that. And by the way, this person was not formally speaking. It was not customer service sounding. It sounded like some kid that like that kind of a conversation. And I'm like, okay, well, don't. And he's like, no, too late. I'm going to do it anyway. I was like, okay, so you're telling me that even though I tell you that I don't want you to block my email, you're still going to block my email? He's like, yeah. I was like, okay, you sound very proud of yourself. And he's like, yeah. That's literally how he responded. He's like, yeah. And I just laughed. And then he laughed and he hung up the phone. And then I go and I check my email. I'm like, okay, well, my email isn't blocked. And then I try to send myself an email. I'm like, well, that's not blocked. But just in case anything potentially may have happened, because I don't want to underestimate someone and that be the reason why I got, you know what I mean? So just for that reason, I was like, okay, are there any sensitive services or anything associated with this email? And I checked and it was, because it was a really old email, so some things were still connected to it. So I changed all of those things. And I was like, all right, you know what, bro? Go ham. Like, if this person really did for some reason hack me or whatever, which nothing like that, I don't even understand. I think it was probably like an attempt of, hey, if you want me to unblock your email, pay me some money. I'm like, bro, what? Get the out of here, bro. What are you even talking about? You guys don't even know. So yeah, that was it. Like, and it was just so stupid. These hackers can be so stupid sometimes. It's like, you don't. Did you even do any recon? Like, do you even have proper intelligence that you think you're attacking somebody? Like, I don't even care, dude. Go check the email, whatever. And anyways, this is it. That was it for our exercise right here. And Adele from finance just called me. She says someone just donated a huge amount of Bitcoin into our charity account. Could this be our intruder? His malware accidentally infected our systems, found the mistake, and retracted all the changes. Maybe he had a change of heart. Huh. Okay. So she says someone just donated a huge amount of Bitcoin to the charity's account. So maybe the hacker knew what he was doing and he felt really bad about it. And maybe when he went through all of this stuff right here, he knows that, you know, this is a fundraiser plan, right? Another fundraising plan, and there's all these things going on. So maybe he felt bad that he was hacking a company that does fundraising, and he was like, all right, we're not gonna hack these people. And so instead of actually hacking them, they donated some money to them. Maybe that's what that Bitcoin thing means. And this entire time I was losing my mind because I thought the guy was an idiot. And it seems like he wasn't an idiot. Maybe he just had a nice heart. He had a good heart or something. I should have probably read the conclusion before I snapped, but I just wanted to share that story with you. Whatever. So that's it. That's all we got. It is completed. This is what has happened. So we are officially done with the retracted. That's probably where that part comes in. He retracted his attack and donated some money instead. So that's very nice of this particular hacker. So hopefully you found some use in this exercise. This was a very easy exercise. I mean, it's SOC 1, right? We've gone through PenTest and SOC level 2. So all of these things by now should be very easy, and hopefully you had some fun with it too. If you did indeed learn anything from this video, I do encourage you to go check out the rest of the stuff that we got on this channel. We got a lot of great stuff. And to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so that you get notified the next time that a video comes out, because there's going to be regular videos coming out as they always do. And I'm very, very excited to be able to share these things with you. So make sure that you like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so that you get notified the next time that a video comes out. And if you haven't done so already, I do want you to check out the Hackaholics Anonymous membership community. This is the premier hacker community on YouTube for security professionals and hackers of all types. And there's a lot of perks that's associated with this. Things like bug bounties that we teach and go in on together, so you can actually make money from hacking even if you're not an advanced hacker, and so on and so forth. There is Python automations that are given away for free. There's the Discord chats that we do. There's live streams that we do monthly. There's a lot of good stuff that's associated with it. And if you don't want to watch the 15-minute video, there's a little description section at the bottom right here that breaks down everything that's available inside of each of the tiers. And if you just want to be a cyber supporter, and if you just want to support us just so we can get more advanced content to you and really help out whatever you're trying to do in this path, or if you want to get all these other perks and become one of the more advanced members, I welcome you to check it out in any way anyways. Because I think it is very useful. It's one of my goals to make this community as useful as possible. And if you're not ready right now, bookmark it for the future so that you get all the intel that you need in advance whenever you need it and whenever you're ready for it. So definitely check out Hackaholics Anonymous and let me know what you think. It's your boy Hank Hackerson at Hank Hacks Hackers, your favorite network and system attacker / protector. No one else loves you. Hank loves you. Love, peace, and chicken grease. And I'll see you in the next video. Later.